So if you found this video after searching for social status on YouTube or Google, you've probably come across a lot of other videos that have some pretty interesting characters in them. People who are quite eccentric or out there and have some pretty unique ideas to share. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because I sort of see myself as a more normal, regular, stable type person. And this idea of social status, I think, is something that we all have to understand and embrace in our lives. And I think it's important to understand, first of all, what social status is, how it affects us, and how we can actually build it in healthy ways. Because a lot of the videos that I've seen out there tend to be a little bit left field, talking about different ideas and ways of doing it that may or may not resonate with you. They certainly didn't resonate with me. But I spent a lot of time over the past couple of weeks thinking about how I've managed to raise my social status in ways that feel good internally and that actually are effective long term, that you can do with integrity. So that's what I wanted to share in this video. So if you're looking for a wacky, way out, kind of crazy method to quickly boost your social status, this is probably not the video for you. But if you're more like me and you're just interested in the topic and you're trying to find a way to actually feel like your social status is elevated and enables you to do the things you want in your life, then maybe this video is for you. Wow, that was a long intro, but you get the point. I'm trying to do this in a more logical, rational way than most of the stuff that's out there. All right, so let's start off by talking about what status and social status actually is. Now, you can spend hours going down a rabbit hole on Google trying to understand the origins of social status and all that type of stuff, but basically, I've come to understand that it is an unspoken measure of value or respect that people have for someone in their life. They see that person as someone who has authority, who has power, who they respect, and they're willing to let influence them. And those are really the four things that I think are most important when you're looking at developing social status and the reasons why you may want to elevate your social status. Obviously, a lot of the videos that are out there right now talk about trying to be popular in school or trying to impress women or, using it in your job, in negotiations, things like that. And that's all fine and good. But I think at the core of it, the reason we all want social status is for those four reasons. We want to be respected, we want to have more authority, we want to have more power, and we want to be able to influence people in a way that we can live a more effective, more fulfilling life. And one of the most important things that I've noticed about social status is there's a real difference between what I'd call external and internal status. So the external types of status you probably know and recognize every day in society. They're the people who try to dress nicely or get really fit and in shape or drive an expensive car or kind of flash their fame or their wealth or their power or whatever. They use external means to try and show you that they're a high status person. Now, in a lot of situations, this works. Just go on Instagram and look at the people who are getting the most likes, and they're probably the most beautiful, most successful looking type people. However, we also know that underneath that is sometimes a little bit of emptiness. It can be a bit of a facade. It's not real. And in this way, I think that social status, when it's only developed through external means, can become a bit of a trap. We've all seen people who get a little bit too much into their social media or into their image or try and impress other people with their status symbols or their achievements or their possessions or whatever. And to be honest, it's kind of a little bit sad. Now, I'm not saying that I've never fallen into this trap. I know when I was younger especially, it was very important for me to find ways to externally display my status. But as I've got a little bit older, into my 30s and 40s, I've realized that there is a different type of status, and that's what I'm calling internal status. This is a sense of value that you have internally for yourself, and it's developed through a very different method and approach than the typical external means. And that's what I want to talk about for the rest of this video, is this idea of internal status and how, if you develop that and grow that over time, it starts to naturally elevate your social status amongst your peers, your co-workers, your friends, your family, whomever, because they detect a different sense of status that's emanating from you because you have already developed your internal sense of status. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this topic and really going back into my life and examining the ways that I have slowly developed that sense of internal status that has helped me to raise my overall social status. And there's really four different ways that I think that it happens for most people, and I've found that work effectively for me. Now, the first way that I have learned to build internal status in yourself is to have a plan, a focus, or a direction in your life. If you think about it, the people who seem to have the most power and authority in their lives are the ones who are going going somewhere. They have a focus, they have a goal, they have a mission of some type that they're trying to achieve in their life. It may not be earth-shattering, it may be something as simple as building a business or raising a family or working in some sort of charity or something like that, but they have a direction and a focus that extends beyond just living day to day. And there's something incredibly powerful and influential in that ability to have your own focus and direction in life. If you don't already know what you want to do in your life, this can be a real stumbling block to building that sense of status. And it can take time to really understand at a deep level what it is you want to spend your life doing. Now, you don't have to plan out your entire life. It might just be having a goal for the next 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, something that you can focus forward on and that you can have a direction around. You will find that the more you have that in your life, the more naturally you start to build a sense of respect and influence from other people. People are very interesting in that if you teach them how to treat you, they tend to follow that instruction. So if you show to people that you already have a lot of focus and direction in your life, they will tend to fall in line with that a lot easier. However, if you don't have any direction and you're just aimless and you're kind of wandering in life, it's much easier for people to try and control you and influence you and potentially look down on you as someone who's not doing something worthwhile. And for this reason, I think it's very important to spend the time and really delve deep into what it is you want to do in your life and to decide on a focus and a direction for yourself. Again, it doesn't have to be something world-changing. It can just be something small, but it's got to be important to you. And if you do that, you will find that you start to really get more respect and get more influence and power and authority from the people in your life. The second idea that I have is to reframe your needs into wants. Now, this is a very subtle shift that we all have to make if we want to have a stronger sense of internal status. Very often in life, there is a tendency to view everything we want to do as a need. We need to go to work. We need to eat something. We need to have some sleep. We need to have a partner. All those things, when they're needs in our lives, we tend to feel very powerless. We don't have control and choice. However, if we reframe them into wants, we actually want to go to work. We want to have a certain level of achievement. We want to have a great relationship. We want to be in great shape. Whatever it is, you will find that that gives a different perspective and a different focus in your life. And it also gives the power back to you to choose the things that you're doing. Now, if you're in a career or a situation right now in your life that you don't feel is what you want, then it's up to you to actually change that. And I totally get it. There's some circumstances where you need to provide for your family or you have to keep a job or things like that. I understand that. But if you reframe it and you start to think about what do I want underneath that, that will start to change the direction and the focus of your internal status. It's almost like the rudder on a ship. Once you start to direct where it's going with your wants, it will start to change the direction of the ship over time. You have to be the one to reframe from this idea of I need these things in my life to I want these things for myself. I want to achieve them. I want to have them. I want to be this. That gives you that internal sense of power and status that's missing very often. And it actually starts to influence other people as well because they see you as someone who's at cause in the world rather than just being affected. The third idea I have for you is a fairly simple one. It's to see yourself as valuable. This idea definitely goes back to the concept of self-esteem. Esteem actually means to value something. So self-esteem means to have self-value. I actually made a video a couple of months ago about how to build confidence, ways that I have learned to do it in a genuine way rather than using a lot of bravado. So you may want to go and watch that video at some stage. But the idea that you are a valuable person in your own unique way, that's an important part of building a sense of internal status. This can be a very tricky thing to do at times because we tend to compare ourselves very unfavorably to people who we think are further ahead from us, especially people who we think are cool or successful or have power and authority. We look at ourselves in a way that maybe we're not as valuable as they are, so we start to devalue ourselves even more. What I would say is really to do an inventory of yourself and look at all your skills and abilities and talents and the things that you do that make an impact in the world in your own unique way. It could even be a small way with another person, maybe helping and supporting others in your family or your friends or your community. Whatever it is, you can find ways that you are actually valuable. Don't worry so much about the external symbols of status. Look at your internal value and ask yourself, how am I valuable as a person? If you hold on to that and you start to tell yourself over time, you affirm the fact that you are a valuable person, you will start to believe it more, and the people in your life will actually respond as well. They will see that you value yourself in the way you treat yourself, in the way you carry yourself, the way you think and talk about yourself, and they will start to again fall in line with that image that you are creating internally. And intrinsically understanding your value, not only does it make you have a higher social status, but it actually makes you feel more fulfilled and more happy just in yourself. So this idea of seeing yourself as valuable, it may take you several years to get it right, but keep working on it, and maybe even use a simple affirmation as something as simple as I am valuable. You'll find that over time starts to raise that internal status, and it starts to change the way people perceive you in the world. And the fourth idea I have to raise your internal sense of status is to treat people as equals. Now, this is a very common thing we hear today, that everyone is equal and that we should treat people fairly. And I'm not talking about it necessarily in terms of not talking down to people. I'm talking about it in terms of not seeing other people as above you. No matter how successful or famous or powerful someone is around you, you might perceive them to be in that position, you can still see yourself as an equal person to them. I have learned to do this in my life, especially in the speaking world, where I would look up to and admire other speakers and think, wow, if only I could be as good as them. When I would meet them as people, I would make sure to see myself as an equal human being. And this is a really important thing, because the way you act towards someone when you meet them teaches them their status level compared to yours. If you meet someone who's famous, for example, or someone who's rich or powerful or very attractive or whatever, and you suddenly start to act around them like you're nervous, or you can't do the same things that they can do in their life, they will perceive that and they will slot themselves above you in terms of status. But if you learn that you are actually equal as a human being, you have the same opportunities, the same talents, the same life as they do to make something of yourself, and even though you haven't done things in the exact way they have, you can do them in your own way, you will find that that idea of treating yourself and others as equal and perceiving it and actually treating people in that way will help you to raise your social status over time. A great way to do this is the next time you're in a meeting with someone who's like a boss in your company or someone who you admire as a mentor, is when you're talking to them, say in your head, I am your equal. And you don't have to say it out loud, just say it in your head, I am your equal. And you will find that you start to behave and act differently around that person than you ever have. And that person will start to notice that you have a different sort of presence about you, because you are slowly raising your social status through the internal belief that you are equal to them, the same as they are equal to you. This is something that took me a really long time to understand and to get good at doing, but trust me, the more you do this, the more you perceive everyone out there as equal to you, no matter their level of status compared to yours, you will find that it starts to, over time, give you that sense of internal confidence and value, and it takes away that pressure to have to try and fit into social status hierarchies. You just see everyone as equal and you act accordingly. I want to finish by saying that craving and desiring social status is a normal human trait. If you go back and look at anthropology and biology and all those different topics, you will notice that it is just part of our genetic makeup to want to try to have a high status persona and image in our social groups. So don't avoid it, don't feel guilty about it, accept the fact that you want to be a higher status person and that you can actually do it if you come from the perspective of building your internal status first. Don't fall into the trap of just trying to do external tricks that will try and get people to see you as cool or popular or powerful or whatever, because those fade very quickly over time, especially as you get a little bit older. So I would say focus on how you can become more valuable. See yourself as an equal to everyone you meet. Focus on your direction in life, and those things will dramatically help you to build your sense of internal status and to show people that you're a person who's worth respecting and listening to in your life. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully the ideas were valuable for you. If you found them interesting, please leave a like and a comment below sharing your understanding of social status and how it's impacted your life and what you're trying to do to improve it. My name is Daniel Midson-Short. Thanks as always for watching. And as I always say, thank you for improving yourself.